This is probably one of the most important things that we're going to do today. And I appreciate Senator Dixon for bringing this forward. Senator Steele, you mind saying a prayer for us? What number are you?
7.
7. Okay.
Heavenly Father, thank you for this day that we have an opportunity to pass a bill or two about the children in our state. Please be with us to be open-minded and open ears about those that are here to speak for and against the bill, and just keep us focused on your will. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank y'all. Our first bill of the day is brought by Senator Clint Dixon, and we have a good many people signed up to speak in support of the bill. And so when we get to that point, we're probably going to limit everybody to, I hate to do this, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, got like 10 or 12 people. So we'll probably limit everybody to like 2 minutes because I think we understand the passion that we all have in this bill. So Senator Dixon, if you would identify yourself and tell us what bill and LC number we're working off of.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Wait, hold on. That's right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I think that microphone's the one that works.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to work.
Senator Payne has to tell me that too. He did earlier today.
Check, check.
What about now?
You got me now, Mr.
Yeah,
Chairman?
there you go. Is that
There we
good?
go. I believe so. Can you hear me?
Try it again.
Check, check.
Oh, there you
Hey, we got a live mic.
go. Shake, Roddy shake.
You know, in the world of politics, it's good if you don't have a mic that goes. Sometimes it's best not
Oh,
to
it
be
is
heard.
loud now. You turn it down a little bit? Here you go. Now, sir.
Thank you, Mr.
Floor
Chairman,
is yours.
committee members. Thank you for allowing me to present Senate Bill 126, working off of LC 49-2168. And this is a very simple bill. As you can see, it's a page and a half. It's something that I've been working on. This would be my third session working on this legislation, which is a very important legislation dealing with our completion schools, which we have Mountain Ed, we got Foothills, which is in my district in Barrow County, and then we've got Coastal Plain. And, you know, as a state, as we move towards more school choice, dealing with, you know, your traditional schools, you know, dual achievement, being able to study at home, these completion schools, and then also charter schools, you know, it allows options for children, you know, that, you know, especially don't fit in that, you know, 4-year, 1 semester cohort for many reasons. But completion schools have had a long track record of providing great services to students at risk of not graduating at all. And that could be for many reasons. You know, it could be, you know, they need to go work to help support the family. It could be a sickness in the home, or the student, you know, suffering from a sickness and not able to attend school during regular hours, where the completion school program, it offers a very flexible program where they can go during the day, they can go at night, they can take classes online, but they've got a lot of support. They got a lot of support where they do have a mentor that is, you know, that is assigned to them, that becomes a friend and a coach to kind of help them through, you know, getting that diploma. And then, you know, as I said earlier, you know, you've got, you know, dual achievement, you've got study at home, you've got your charter schools, you know, your residency schools, your traditional schools. Now, we've got many choices today, and all of those school systems, besides these completion schools, the student can drop out or transfer at 16 without having to have permission or a release from their residency school, except for the completion schools. And this happened 2 years ago with House Bill 87. Now, I worked very closely with the pro tem in the House then, and ended up becoming a very good bill, except for this one component. We were unable to negotiate that dropout because 87 basically raised that age to 18, from 16 to 18. And what that means is So currently, because of HB 87, if a student wants to transfer from their residency school to a completion school, if they're 16 or 17 years old, the residency school has kind of final say. They have to release that student over. But the issue is the residency school is then still accountable for that student. They're still accountable financially. Some of that money would transfer over to the student, but then the bigger portion of it is the dropout. That dropout calculation stays with the residency school. And where that's problematic, as many of y'all know, dealing with education, superintendents, they are hired and fired by, their dropout rates, by their grade performance. I mean, that's just one of the metrics that can really hurt them. And so, in seeing some of that, some of these schools, especially Coastal Plains, Mr. Chairman, I mean, their enrollment rate, has dropped over 50% since 87 has taken place. And I know Foothills in my area, I mean, they're down at least 1/3 of what their student enrollment rate once was before 87 took place. And, my personal experience with it, these kids are basically left without an option, and they're going into the workforce. At best, they get a GED, which all of you know is not an equivalent to a high school diploma. And to go on to, whether it's, vocational school, whether it's, studying to be an HVAC professional or going to college, you need that high school diploma to kind of take that next step. And that's where these completion schools are detrimental and very important for these students that don't fit in that cohort of going to school from, 8 to 2 in the afternoon, for whatever reason it may be. And, and simply, as I say all this and talk about all this background, simply all the bill does is it drops the age where they can transfer as a resident student or drop out at 16. And it matches up, and gives parity to all of those other types of schooling that students can have in the state of Georgia. And as a simple bill, there's still, accountability with the residency school, but it just drops that age, because most of the students that need the completion schools are 16 to 17 years old. And we've got to make sure that we get those kids. If we want to stay the #1 state to do business, we've got to make sure these kids are educated and continue to have a educated workforce. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any question? Oh, we do. Number 12 is Senator Halpern.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much. I have just a question about the reporting of dropout. So we know if they leave their originating school at 16 and nobody knows that they're going anywhere, they're counted as dropouts. My question is, what happens if they leave the specialty schools? Are they kind of just lost in the numbers, or if they drop out of specialty school, where are they counted for?
Yeah, so, no, I mean, there's a dropout rate and a graduation rate that the completion schools, they carry that as well. It's just currently under HB 87, they can't leave the residency school without the residency school signing off on that. So 16, 17-year-olds, they can come over, but they can't be a enrolled program student, per se. And that dropout rate is still attached to that residency school. So, the data shows that the enrollment rate has dropped tremendously in these completion schools. And like I said, the other options, if they don't have this, is study at home. But if you don't have the support system, and I'm certainly not qualified to be a teacher as well, so I'd be bad if my kids had to have me as a homeschool parent. But if you don't have that support system, studying from home, you've got to have that adult that's supporting you and holding you accountable. A lot of these kids, are going into the workforce without a diploma, I'm afraid.
Senator Kill.
Thank you, Senator, for this. So my question is, with the 16 and 17-year-olds and the residency school, so the residency school under this bill would no longer have to sign off on them going to the specialty schools?
That's correct.
Okay.
And currently, this is the only school, or this transfer is the only one that doesn't have that ability from 16 to 17-year-old, like your dual enrollment. If you're going to charter schools, if you decide to study at home, 16-year-old can transfer without, they can do that currently. This would just bring parity to our education system.
Got it.
And essentially, this is actually making it, HB 87, and I believe that, it wasn't malicious, but it has made it harder for kids to graduate. Unfortunately, the kids that fit in this cohort are left without an option, and either they go to work and, hopefully they come back at 18, which, you and I know, even if you know folks that have graduated high school that say they want to delay, starting college or vocational school if they take years off, the odds of them coming back continue to drop.
Any other questions? I will make an observation before we bring up. I've attended Coastal Plains in Statesboro and Coastal Plains in Metter, and I remember the first time I think Chantel Webb was in the audience, the director of Coastal Plains in Statesboro. When I attended it, I talked to 4 students that day, and the first one I talked to worked at a car wash. He lived with his grandmother, worked at a car wash during the daytime in order to support his grandmother, then came to school at night. The second one I talked to, well, I talked to 3, excuse me. The second one I talked to was a little girl that had a small baby, and she stayed at home during the daytime with the baby while her mother worked. And then when her mother came home at night, then she went to school. And the third one was a little Hispanic girl that was so shy that she wouldn't even look me in the face. And they said that she would have never survived in a public school safety setting. And so what I remember about that so much was how respectful they were, how polite they were. And that's just something that, and how willing they were to talk to me, except one little girl. So there's definitely, and I know, and y'all do too, if you got a 2-year break-in service, any type of job, 2-year break-in service, you don't go back. And that's kind of like what we're talking about here, is go from, you drop out at 16, you don't sign up for 18, that's a break-in service. And you've got already had life-changing events, whether you got a job or whether you're out on the street. So it's very, very important. So I got Senator Payne.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I just, of course, thank you for bringing this bill. And as a guy who worked with these kids for 30 years, these are the ones I work with, the ones who are falling through the cracks. And I just, and if these kids leave school at 16, they're not coming back at 18. They're just, they don't. So this gives them that option at 16 that they can still keep that sense of hope and drive in front of them that they can actually complete their education. And so I just want to say thank you for bringing this bill.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we're going to open up the testimony. The first testimony is going to be from Taylor Duncan, student at Coastal Plains, Bullitt County. So if you would identify yourself and tell us where you live. You live in Statesboro?
Yes, sir.
Oh, cool. I'm in Statesboro. That's cool. It's always great to see people from hometown here. So if you would identify yourself, and the mic is yours for 2 minutes.
Okay.
Oh, let me turn the mics on. And talk very close. If you would talk close to the mic so everybody can hear you.
Time stood still as I watched the car from the left lane ram into the side of my dad's truck. An extremely loud noise came from the car, hitting the passenger side door, crushing my leg. I felt a sharp pain in my knee, and when it went numb, my mom was on the phone when it happened and was asking me if I was okay. I just started crying. My dad had gotten out the truck. My door wouldn't open. I had to crawl over to his seat to get out the truck. I just remember standing there until the ambulance came. They only checked out my knee, however, that was the least of my injuries. Good afternoon, I'm Taylor Duncan. I'm 16 years old and I attend Coastal Plains High School in Bullitt County. Thank you for having me today and giving me the opportunity to share my experience. I am here today to share why I chose Coastal Plains and how it has changed my academic journey, and why increased awareness of non-traditional schools like Coastal Plains is important for students like me. I was a student at a traditional high school, Pinewood Christian Academy. Unfortunately, they were not sympathetic about my absences due to doctor's appointments. From experiencing a recent injury, as a result of the accident, I experienced internal damage that was not visible to the naked eye. A couple months went by and I experienced a very bad series of migraines. I was taken to the hospital and a chiropractor where I learned that my spine had unnatural curves in it. We also came to find out that I had 2 bones sitting on top of each other in my neck. I have been a student at Coastal Plains since September of 2024. I chose this school because it provides a smaller learning environment. Students have the opportunity for one-on-one engagement and class schedules are more flexible. Coastal Plains has impacted my life by making the learning and experience more manageable. I now look forward to coming to school in the afternoons. Since I arrived at school, I was more interactive and interested in the curriculum. For example, algebra is one of my hardest subjects. I have always struggled to maintain a passing grade in math class. The Coastal teacher, Miss J, has helped me track and stay on top of all of my progress. We have a check-in teacher who maps out the amount of time it should take us to complete each unit. Prior to coming to Coastal, my average grade for history was approximately 70. Now that I'm at Coastal, I have over a 90. Had I not enrolled in Coastal Plains, I believe I would be in a traditional school struggling to keep up with my grades. I would tell a student who is interested in enrolling in Coastal Plains that this is an ideal way to get your high school diploma. It's a great learning environment. The teachers really care about the students. We as students are held accountable for our learning and progress. As a result, we are better prepared for the next level of learning. Many people think that non-traditional schools don't provide enough rigor, but courses in Edgenuity assure our learning. Education should not be one size fits all. We are all different, and Coastal recognizes it. My future plans are to finish high school, go to a four-year college or university, get my bachelor degree of science in nursing and a master of science in physician assistant studies. I would like to move away from Georgia and work in a large hospital in either Texas or Tennessee to continue following my dreams and being an inspiration to our upcoming generation. Do y'all have any other questions?
No, we'll move on. What is remarkable about this testimony is I thought it was only public schools that went. I had no idea. Pinewood's a very, very good private school in Clarkson, Georgia, actually Belleville, Georgia. So thank you for your testimony.
I have a question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
Why are you moving?
Stay in Georgia. Honestly, ever since I was little, I've wanted to get far away from Georgia and just work in a bigger hospital where I can help more and more people.
Thank
Okay,
you.
I'll consider it.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm partially involved in this.
Yeah.
I've told her there's a bigger world out there.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your testimony. Chantel, if you would please slide over that microphone.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Taylor, thank you. Introduce yourself and tell.
Hi, I'm Chantel Webb. I'm a site director at the Bullock County campus in Statesboro. And it's been a great pleasure to work for Coastal. I come from a background of education. I'm a retired public high school counselor before I became a site director. And we were just so happy to be able to bring Taylor here today to speak to you. All of our students have unique stories, every one of them. So we really, really encourage you with this bill, and we're thankful for y'all being here and listening to us today. Taylor also is here with her parents, Michael Duncan and Emily Roberts, and her sister Aubrey Roberts. So thank you again.
Very good. Thank you so much. Chantel. Natasha Culberson, please come forward. Natasha's career specialist with Coastal Plains High School in Vidalia, Georgia, the home of Senator Blake Tillery.
I just want to echo.
Again, tell us who you are.
I'm sorry. My name's Natasha Culberson. I'm the career specialist at Coastal Plains Vidalia. I was the graduation coach for 8 years. I have just recently transitioned to the career specialist role. And to echo what Ms. Chantel said, every student has their own story, and it has been my pleasure working with Coastal Plains these last 8 years and getting to know these students. And not all of our students fit in the same box. You know, traditional schools, we put them in the same box. Coastal allows us to meet the needs of these individual students. So it is my honor to introduce to you two of my students from Coastal. One of them just recently graduated, Mr. Bird, and then a current senior, Miss Gunter. They each have their own individual stories as well.
So Brandon, come forward and introduce yourself. Now Brandon also lives in Statesboro. Or actually works in Statesboro.
I work in Statesboro.
Hey, now be proud of it, man. Tell us your name and all, and tell us.
My name is Brandon Bird. I am 19 years old, and I attended Coastal Plains in Vidalia, Georgia. I enrolled at Coastal Plains in Vidalia, Georgia on February 25th of 2022. Before I enrolled Coastal Plains, I attended Georgia Cyber Academy. I chose Coastal Plains because I knew I would have better opportunities with having in-person teachers to help me. I was struggling with online content and online interactions. Transferring to Coastal Plains benefited me because I was able to engage face-to-face with teachers and other students. I had 11 and a half credits when I enrolled in Coastal Plains. I graduated with Coastal Plains with an accelerated career diploma on January 6 of 2025. While attending Coastal Plains, I was a dual enrollment student earning 3 college certificates in automotive program. My certificates are automotive electrical and electrical systems, electrical vehicle professional, and automotive climate control technician. Coastal Plains has had a major impact on my life by giving me the opportunity to earn not only my high school diploma while also preparing me to my career in the automotive industry. If I had stayed at my previous school, I wouldn't have had the same support from the teachers and the staff or the chance to achieve my goals. Graduating with both a high school diploma and college certificates set me up to my perfect path of future. If I had not enrolled in Coastal Plains, I would probably still be homeschooled and not have yet graduated yet. If I had a student ask me about enrolling in Coastal Plains, I would tell them to do it. It would give them new opportunities and new ways to succeed in their life and achieve what their life goals are. My future plan is to succeed in the automotive career and pass it down to my children and the next generation of auto mechanics. I have already started my career in the automotive industry, and I am looking forward to my future.
Thank you. Very, very good. Jamie Gunner. Brandon, you addressed what, and I wish I'd asked the other two presenters to address. You addressed what would have happened if you had not have gone to Coastal Plains. So if y'all would, all the presenters going forward, I wish you'd tell us where you think you would have been in life if a Coastal Plains or Foothills had not existed for you. Okay, go.
Hi, my name's Jamie Gunter. I'm 17 years old, and I'm a senior in high school at Coastal Plains at the Vidalia campus. Before attending Coastal Plains, I was homeschooled using Georgia Cyber Academy from 1st grade to 7th grade. I then went to David Emanuel Academy from 8th grade to 10th grade. I chose to enroll in Coastal Plains because I wanted to maintain a flexible schedule while completing high school. I also wanted the option to take full advantage of dual enrollment, and Coastal Plains was extremely helpful in allowing me to complete all the dual enrollment classes I needed for the college program that I wanted to complete. Whenever I enrolled at Coastal Plains, I had 14 high school college credits, and I currently have 2.5 credits. I have completed 14 college courses, and when I graduate in May, I'll have a total of 31 college credit hours. This will allow me to be able to go to college as a sophomore instead of a freshman. Coastal Plains High School has allowed me to complete all the prerequisite college classes needed for me to begin Southeastern Technical College's Associates in Science Nursing program. Because of my flexible schedule at Coastal Plains, I'm also able to compete in my sport of barrel racing, and I can travel for any rodeos that I need while being able to still complete my college courses. If I didn't enroll in Coastal Plains, it would have been a lot more difficult for me to complete all of the college classes I needed while enjoying my sport in the free time. If a student was debating the choice of enrolling in Coastal Plains, I would encourage them to do so. Coastal Plains allows you to complete high school requirements while also giving you the opportunity to take classes that will benefit you in your future career choice. When I graduate Coastal Plains in May, I plan on starting the Associate in Science Nursing program at Southeastern Technical College. After becoming a registered nurse, I plan on continuing my education online to further my degree.
Thank you. Are you still a horse person?
Yes, sir. I
What?
compete in rodeos.
No, I was a barrel racer growing up.
Really, I barrel race.
Yeah, I was state champion one time.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm always in States Pro for barrel races.
Well, thank
so.
you. You go to the Ag Center there?
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you. I was chairman of the organization that put all that together. Yeah.
Well, I like it a
Well,
lot.
thank you. Sherry, from Superintendent Foothills, I saw her. There she is. Sometime with these columns, Sherry was not hiding, but sometimes you can't see people in here. So Sherry, if you would tell us who you are and what your position is with Foothills. And you also brought along Dale, would you too?
I did.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for allowing us to be here tonight and for meeting. We were so proud to be here. And we really appreciate your consideration of Senate Bill 126.
Can I interrupt you just a second?
Yes, you can.
We have heard from the people at Coastal Plains.
Yes, sir.
Ricky gave us an enrollment sheet like this.
Yes.
Do we have enough of these, Ricky, for everybody? Can you pass them out? Because I thought somebody was going to, because you've also got an enrollment sheet that
Yes,
you
sir,
will share
we sure
with us
do.
and go over. Okay.
We sure do.
Okay.
And
I think this will show y'all, the members of the committee, Coastal Plains has had, since the age went from 6 to 16, they've had a 38% decrease in enrollment. And my concern on that, quite honestly, members of the committee, is where are those 38% of people at? Where are those students at, the 38% are no longer in Coastal Plains? And we'll also see in a minute that Foothills has had a 21% decrease. And where are those people at? If they're not in school, where they're at, okay? You got the floor.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. And again, thank you for hearing us. And we're here to talk about and support Senate Bill 126. Since House Bill 87 passed, we have implemented the bill with fidelity. Everything that was in there, we have done, and we have done it well. But there's one part of the bill that we feel strongly needs to be changed, and that's the age of the enrollment students, moving from 18 to 16. And Senator Dixon presented that earlier, and that's what we're supporting and hoping will make a difference. Now I've invited Dr. Dale Simpson. He'll come and he will speak to enrollment numbers and any kind of numbers that you want to know about. And we also brought 3 alumni who have graduated, and they'll share their story. And then I also have one parent who will share her story as a parent of a Foothills student. But we very much appreciate your consideration and your continued support for this work that is so important, because your question is important. Where are these students? If they're not with us, where are they? And that's a very important question to continue asking.
So many times up here we hear them talk about education as an expense, and I keep telling them it's not an income statement item, it's a balance sheet item. It's an investment. So Dale, if you would please, you need to swap seats.
Again, we'd like to thank you for welcoming us here to speak to Senate Bill 126. We absolutely support the bill, as Dr. Gibney Sherman stated. The singular issue that we've had in the implementation over the last couple of years has been the age of students needing to be 18 in order to fully enroll with Foothills. Just to be clear, students who are under the age of 18 can come to Foothills, but only as program students, and that is only with their resident district and resident high schools approval. And it's also with additional burdens, administrative burdens, placed on those resident high schools and those districts, which sometimes work against each other. As Dr. Gibney Sherman mentioned, we have implemented House Bill 87 with fidelity in all aspects, but unfortunately in doing so, it's resulted in a 21% decrease in student enrollment. However, we all know that the need for a non-traditional high school option has not decreased. If anything, based on the economic and the mental health and the academic needs of our students, that need is increasing. And so why vote yes for this bill? We feel like it aligns greatly with your priorities of keeping the choice about what's best for a student in terms of their education as close to the family unit as possible. It removes administrative burdens from completion schools, but resident district schools and resident school districts as well, so that we can focus on educating students, not passing records back and forth when students are enrolled both places. And it also provides for consistent policy. Students have the option to drop out of high school at age 16. That's why we were created, so that they don't do that. Students have the option to attend TCSG's Dual Achieve program at the age of 16, which is also targeted at reducing the dropout rate. And of course, there are other public and private options to students in our state that have no age restrictions at all. So again, we appreciate you. We appreciate your service, and you're putting students first, including those who need a non-traditional option to earn their high school diploma.
Senator Kipp has a question.
Yeah, thank y'all so much for what you do. So I used to work at the Charter School Association, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is as a result of Foothills and Coastal Plains not being identified as charter schools anymore, and you're now considered specialty schools, and so that is what created this change, right? Is that what it is?
The same law
Okay.
changed us over from charter schools to completion
Got
schools.
it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Got it. So previously you were serving these students because they were withdrawn from their school, coming to yours.
Yes,
And now
sir.
this is just pretty much getting you back to where you were, but now under this classification.
Right. Before House Bill 87, there were no restrictions on age at all. Students in high school who needed another option had that option.
Got it. Thank you.
And of course, I think many of us know that the requirement for being in school is age 6 to 16. So at age 16, a student can just drop out. Okay, thank y'all.
Yes, sir.
And you have a couple of alumnus, Matar. I know I messed that up. But if you would please come forward. And he's alumnus of Foothills. You look very sharp, man. Please tell us, pronounce your name for us, and then you start.
It is Matar.
Okay. Okay.
Good evening, honorable leaders and distinguished guests. My name is Matar Juve, and my journey has taken me from a small village in Africa where I was raised by my grandmother to standing before you today. My story is one of resilience, pushing forward even when the path wasn't clear. Life hasn't always been easy, and there were moments when I wasn't sure that what my future held. But every challenge I faced became another reason to keep going. When I arrived in the United States, I didn't just have to adapt to a new culture. I had to figure out where I belonged. I attended Foothills Regional High School, and that's where I learned one of the most valuable lessons of my life. Success isn't just about talent or intelligence. It's about discipline. It's about putting in the work, showing up even when it's hard, and refusing to let obstacles define you. That lesson became even clearer when I made the decision to enroll in the Youth Challenge Academy at just 16. At that age, I knew I needed a different path. Traditional high school wasn't the right fit for me at the time, and I wasn't the only one. There are so many students out there, just like me, who reached a turning point at 16 where they need an option that actually works for them. At YCP, I spent 22 weeks testing my limits, pushing myself harder than ever before, and learning what it truly means to serve a community. That experience didn't just change me, it gave me purpose. It made me believe in myself in a way I never had before. With that mindset, I set a goal to complete my high school diploma as quickly as possible, and I did it in just 10 months. That moment showed me that when students are given the right opportunity at the right time, they can rise to the challenge and succeed. Now I'm a student at Georgia State University, majoring in computer science with a focus on cybersecurity. I'm passionate about technology because I know it's shaping the future, and I want to be a part of protecting it. But beyond that, I have another dream: to become a pilot. Flying represents everything I believe in: precision, freedom, and overcoming limits. Every time I think about soaring, I'm reminded of how far I've come and how much further I can go. I stand here today as proof that opportunity changes lives. Programs like Youth Challenge and schools like Foothills don't just educate. they transform. But access to these opportunities shouldn't come too late. That's why I urge you to support lowering the enrollment age for Foothills from 18 to 16. I was 16 when I needed a different path, and I know I'm not alone. Many students started realizing at that age that the traditional school system isn't working for them. Some, like me, chose YCP, while others will thrive at a Foothill site in their community or through their virtual program. Every student deserves the chance to earn their diploma in a way that works for them, one that gives them the best shot at success. By making this change, you're not just adjusting a policy. You're opening doors for students who might otherwise feel like they have no way forward. You're shaping futures. You're giving students like me the chance to take control of their education earlier and set themselves up for success sooner. Thank you for your time, and thank you for believing in young people like me.
Thank you, sir. Very well said. Axel? Okay. Also another alumnus from Foothills. Okay. I understand. Tell us
Good
who
evening,
you are.
everybody.
Tell us who you are, where you live, and so forth.
My name is Axel Scoba. I live in Athens, Georgia, and I'm here today to tell you about my Foothills experience. I struggled with a lot of things in school. My mom and dad tried a lot of options for me when I was in elementary and middle school. I tried public school. I tried private school, and I even tried homeschool, but none of it worked. So upon reaching high school, we were kind of looking like, what are we going to do? But at age 14, my parents found Foothills, which turned out to be the perfect fit for me. It was exactly what I needed, the way I could work at my own pace and have the help I needed from all the amazing staff. I was also fortunate to be able to choose Foothills right in my hometown of Athens. During my time at Foothills, I took standard high school coursework, while my favorite classes were math and introductory to business courses. I learned valuable skills and information that would help me with my career. While at Foothills, I also took 3 work-based learning credits and became connected with the Athens-Clarke County Solid Waste Department. Since about age 3, I've wanted to be a trash man, so being able to get this jump start was really a great help to be able to graduate. I now work full-time at Athens-Clarke County, and since graduating, I have obtained my commercial driver's license, and I now drive pretty much every vehicle we have in the fleet.
Wonderful.
I love my job, and I'm successful with it, and I would not have been able to have had such a jump start without the cooperation of the work-based learning at Foothills and the hours to be able to work while going to school. I also plan to go to college and earn a business degree to own my own trash collection company with the experience I have gained from my years at the Athens-Clarke County Solid Waste Department. All of these things would not have been possible had I not graduated. And honestly, I don't think I would have graduated without Foothills. I needed the chance to work at my own pace without a lot of pressure on me. And without the stress of social interactions with all kinds of people. High school is crazy. So being able to just do it at my own pace with my music in was incredibly helpful. I had amazing and supportive teachers who felt like they wanted to help me, that they were not just there for a paycheck. They were there because they wanted to really help me graduate, which made a huge difference. I also felt okay asking for help from these teachers, which is not something that every student has the option for. Public and private school options do work for a lot of people. They worked for my 3 older brothers, but they did not work for me. And they probably don't work for a lot of kids just like me. And the Foothills needs to be in place for kids at 16 to be able to enroll so they can get the education they need and graduate on time like everybody else. Thank you for hearing my story.
Thank you, sir. Great story. There is money in trash.
There sure is. The trash is going to keep coming.
Martha?
Hi, my name is Martha McGlone, and I'm a graduate of Foothills Regional High School. Thank you, legislators, for the opportunity to speak with you today. At 16, when I stopped living with my parents and when I went to enter school, I had the choice to be 2 years behind in a regular large public school or to attend Foothills and work at my own pace. I chose Foothills, and I'm glad that I did. Foothills gave me the chance to live a fulfilling life, and it really did shape me as a person. I've never made the choice to be homeless or to live the life I lived. I never chose to live in tents and to jump from hotel to motel at such a young age. My parents had enrolled me in online school during that period of time, which really didn't happen. And at 14, my mom gave me a GED book, and she told me that I needed to learn it. I didn't understand anything that was in it, and it was really difficult to learn. I ended up being out of school for those 2 years of my life. However, when I was given the choice to attend Foothills at 16 to earn my high school diploma, without that choice to enroll at Foothills at 16 years old, I'm not really sure that I would have ever gotten my high school diploma or be attending college at Athens Tech. And last semester I had a 4-point GPA, which was really exciting to hear. And I was able to work on high school classes faster than I could have in a traditional school. I also had the choice to work a full-time job while going to school at Foothills. It allowed me the flexibility to do that, and I worked full-time at Chick-fil-A. And then what I liked most about Foothills was the caring staff, the mentor relationship, and all of the support to meet me where I was at to meet my goals. They were very caring, and they helped me a lot. And before Foothills, I wasn't really sure if I would ever get my high school diploma. I hadn't even imagined that I would ever have the choice to go to college, but I'm in my second semester right now. And after graduating from Foothills last spring, I enrolled in Athens Technical College and managed to go from being 2 years behind to graduating the year I was supposed to. I'm now taking 4 classes there, and I'm studying drafting, and I'm on my way to becoming an architect. And when I needed a choice in a school that fit my needs, I had it. I think that all students ages 16 and up should have the choice to do the same. Thank you for listening to my story, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. That's a great story. Every story we've heard is a great story. Laura's a parent. Yeah. Laura's a parent whose child attended Foothills.
May I pass a photo of my family?
Yeah, you can pass them on. You okay? Time was. We ain't got very much longer. Yes, ma'am.
How many of you were voted most likely to succeed in high school? How many?
Sam
maybe?
was.
There's always one, especially in a room of powerful people like this. What about best dressed or maybe class clown? We might have one of those.
Senator Kemp, best dressed.
In our case, we have a daughter who's most likely to surprise you. Let me introduce you to my daughter, Lily. And on the back page that I'm sending around, Lily pictured with her mentor, Miss Marge. My name is Laura Lowry. I'm a native Georgian, and I'm here to advocate for the bill that's before you for discussion that will lower the age of enrollment eligibility for Georgia students in a completion school from 18 to 16. My daughter Lily attends Foothills Regional High School at the Clark County location, one of 16 locations for this publicly funded completion school serving the Northeast Georgia area. Why should you vote for this change, and what would it mean for Georgia students? It gives parents an additional option sooner rather than later in their student's career. But I would emphasize that my understanding is a parent must be involved in the decision, as is the case with any child that drops out of school at 16. The bill provides full funding for students at 16 and 17, so the completion school has the benefit of what the state is providing for that student's education. I believe that's also part of the legislation. And also it relieves the student's home school or resident school of the impact of that student no longer being in their building. That has been my understanding, some of the reluctance of what they are referring to as program students to enroll at these younger ages. There is a path to do it, but it's paperwork heavy, and if the student doesn't graduate, it reflects poorly on that home school. And any of us who are being graded on a metric like that would be reluctant to let that data point walk out of the building if you can't control that outcome. So we need to let those schools also have the benefit of how this legislation would help them. Back to Lily, though. Back in 2020, our daughter started ninth grade after spending the previous spring in lockdown. No one wants to think about that, but if you give it a moment, it was a terrible time for everyone. And she spent that spring online, or rather sleeping in her bed, and did not come to high school in person, though she was not prepared, and failed 2 classes that year. By the fall of 10th grade, she would not get out of bed in the morning to go to school. And if she were here, she would tell you that. Mental health was a problem for her. We knew she needed a change. We heard about something called Foothills Charter at that time, and she was 15 when we toured. We heard about it through contacts in our community. January of 22, she enrolled. She was a sophomore at the time at a high-performing, nationally ranked high school. Not a bad school, a good school. But we left. At that time, she should have graduated with her classmates in May of 2024. What we found was a completely different approach to getting school done. Foothills requires you to be enrolled in 3 courses at any given time. Most course content can be viewed online in modules with quizzes at the end of each section, but you have to take a test in the building using a test code from the teacher. Academic integrity and honor are taken very seriously. Here's the catch, though. You have to get an 80 to move on, pass the quiz, pass the test, pass the class. If you don't get that 80, guess what? You back up. You do the quiz again till you get the 80. Is it the same questions? No, I've asked Lily that. No, Mom, it's different questions. They're asked differently. They're in a different order. It's just the same material. Shouldn't everything work that way? In the old school, she was getting zeros when she wouldn't go or didn't turn it in, digging a hole she could never get out of in that model. At Foothills, there's a content area teacher every night. So there's a math teacher, a social studies, a science, a
30
literature.
seconds.
And there's no loud lunchroom, no social clicks, no popularity games. The distractions are gone. The list of zeros are gone. And Lily, of course, met Miss Marge. She will graduate this May. She only lacks one EOC that she will take this coming March, and she's working with a tutor right now to prepare for that. Miss March has been there every night, encouraging her with what she needs to do tonight to get through her coursework. And Miss Marge was the first guest on the guest list for her graduation party that we're currently planning. Thank you so much for the foresight to fund schools like this, alternative ways to learn for our students in this state. And please give parents the option of choosing this style of learning sooner rather than later, before it's too late for their child.
Let me ask you one quick question. Everybody on this panel is a parent.
Mm-hmm.
When your child was hurting, did you cry?
Every day.
Yeah. And it don't matter. It's a hurting situation when what you went through, but you were able to find an alternative in this lady right over here. And if this lady at Foothills had not been involved, you really don't know what you. So we had to find. That's what this whole bill is about.
Absolutely.
So thank you for a great
Thank you.
testimony. We got one last speaker, Mr. Mark Urban, and you signed up first, but I wanted us to hear these stories before you come. So you got 2 minutes.
Sure. Well, good evening, everyone. Chairman Billy Hickman, Vice Chairman Senator Chuck Payne, fellow members of the committee, fellow citizens of Georgia and America. My name is Mark Allen Urbach, teacher of 15 years, public and private schools, author, investigative reporter, 2018 former Republican candidate for governor of Georgia. I'd like to share with you some documents and valuable information about Georgia's standards of excellence for the U.S. United States history and world history course. I will submit today the following. I have the documents right here and statements for United States history and world history. The United States history course does not mention the following events. A, the First Continental Congress prayer Bible session. Our righteous Christian founding fathers prayed the 35th Psalm and read out of the Bible and prayed for approximately 3 to 4 hours. B, George Washington bulletproof. Factual event of George Washington at the start of the French-Indian War. Primary source document, Washington's letters home, where he said, quote, "By the all-powerful dispensation of providence, I have been protected beyond all human probability or expectation, for I had 4 bullets through my coat and 2 horses shot under me, yet escaped unhurt, although death was leveling my companions on every side of me." C, God intervenes and saves America. Factual event of how during the War of 1812, God intervened by pouring out rain, tornadoes, and lightning to disperse the British. President James Madison issues a proclamation for a day of fasting and prayer. General Andrew Jackson at the Battle of New Orleans write a letter to Secretary of War about how divine providence helped him with the victory. Also not included in the Georgia standards is how God intervened during the Battle of Midway during World War II, where the Japanese pilots' radio communique was not received back to their aircraft carrier, warning them that there was a massive fleet of American ships. Basically, anything godly is not in the standards. What a
Mr.
shame,
Mark,
as God has greatly blessed
thank you
America.
so much. Thank you so much for your testimony, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Can I submit the documents to you, sir?
Yes, sir, please.
All right, thank
That'd be great. I think we've had enough information. I think that we had an opportunity to ask questions. I will now entertain a motion for the bill to pass the bill. This is a motion to pass now. Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to do pass Senate Bill 126 and SC 492168.
And second comes from, okay, thank you, Senator James. Okay, any questions, any comments? I think we had some great, thank y'all. I know it was a big effort for y'all, and we won't, this kind of stuff, I keep telling people all the time, this helps us understand. If we don't understand things, we vote no. Okay, it's just that simple. So y'all have done an excellent job helping us understand. So I will tell you then. So we got a first and a second, and I will say all those in favor of do pass this bill, raise your right hand. So it is. Oh, it's 100%. Okay. Oh, opposed. Okay. Okay. So what?
Yep.
Okay. Well, thank y'all so much. Thank y'all for your time. Thank you for being here. We do have another bill. Our beloved Senator Bo Hatchett. Did you like what I said? He's got a bill, and it's Senate Bill 154. Now, Senator Sims, you know we're working on. She didn't. She ain't answering me. She ain't listening to me. So, Senator, tell us what your bill number and your LC number is.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Today I bring you Senate Bill 154, LC 492225. I'll let the room clear out because I'm getting some background noise here. Senate Bill 154, which is LC 492225. This bill is a proactive cleanup bill with the President of the United States, his campaign promises, and some things that his administration is doing. He's looking to do away with the U.S. Department of Education. If that happens, I just referenced the Georgia State Code, and the U.S. Department of Education, or the United States Department of Education, is referenced over 25 times throughout the code. And so this is a small bill, but it has a major impact. Just some of the things that would occur should the U.S. Department of Education be disbanded. First off, peace officers, when they go to school in order to get their peace officer certification, they have to graduate from a school that is accredited by the U.S. Department of Education. So if there's no U.S. Department of Education, the schools aren't accredited and peace officers can't get their license. The same thing applies to social workers, professional counselors, marriage and family therapists, dentists, dental hygienists, and dental assistants. If the U.S. Department of Education is gone, the curriculum and the universities or schools where these professionals trained will not be recognized as accredited agencies which are able to give out licenses in the state of Georgia. The same is true if you look at OCJ 4324A-3. That has to do with the massage therapy practice, optometrists, psychologists, speech language pathologists. It also has to do with teacher certification in elementary and secondary education. In order to become a licensed teacher in the state of Georgia, it states that your educational institution must be approved by the Professional Standards Commission and accredited by a regional accrediting agency recognized by the United States Department of Education. Obviously, there are a lot of professions. There are a lot of consequences that could occur should this happen. And because of that, I'd like to get ahead of this so that we're not in a position where licenses aren't recognized and teachers, counselors, and even curriculum is not recognized by the state of Georgia. And then, honestly, one of the most important consequences of this that we need to address is the tuition waiver program for qualifying foster and adopted individuals. They also reference the U.S. Department of Education. If that were to go through, obviously, it's not there. So the last Section 3 is just changing the student aid report from the United States Department of Education to the FAFSA. I'm happy to answer any questions, but would just ask for favorable consideration of the bill.
Thank you. Hold on. Okay, Senator Payne.
Thanks, Senator. Is this just the tip of the iceberg, or will there be more? I mean, that this is going to impact, or have you been through the whole federal code and said, no, this is it?
No, I have not been through the whole federal code, and that's a good question. So when I was consulting with the Ledge Council, that was actually something that was brought up. If other agencies are done away with, will we need to revise the code? I think yes, but I just wanted to tackle the U.S. Department of Education because of, I guess, some of the consequences that I see, not just in schools, but also with licensed professionals.
Right. Thank you.
Great idea. Great idea. Senator Settler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a true question. This isn't a leading question.
Remember, he's an attorney now.
No, I'm not. Section 2 and Section 3, I'm trying to understand because the source of my concern is I don't know that it even applies depending on what's related to in Section 2 and Section 3. Section 3, changing something from the student aid report to FAFSA. There are schools that are accredited schools that are somewhat elite schools that are not part of the FAFSA framework. They don't take any federal dollars. They reject all that. So I just want to make sure there's no thing in Section 2 that would take someone who's made a 15-20 on their SAT, went to Hillsdale College in Michigan, which is a top 20 school in the country, that doesn't take any federal aid at all. You don't file a FAFSA for them. They're not part of that system at all. They're completely privately funded. I just want to make sure that someone who has a degree from there or Grove City College or other places that are top schools that you can't get student loans, you can't get an ROTC scholarship, they're completely outside of the federal framework for that, is not going to inadvertently get messed up in this.
No, so Section 3 and where we change the definition to FAFSA only applies to the tuition waiver program for qualifying foster and adopted individuals, and it states that basically the requirements to qualify for that waiver, the requirements, and it says that are not covered by all available federal and non-federal student aid sources identified in the student aid report from the United States Department of Education. That student aid report from the U.S. Department of Education is what we're changing to FAFSA because they are actually the same.
So there's no FAFSA references in section 2 at all then, by operation. Okay, I didn't see them. Just want to make sure I was clear about that.
No, that's just, should just be section, no, that is just section 3.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I guess, so what we're doing is wherever these changes are made, after the U.S. Department of Education or United States Department of Education, we're just putting a comma or its successor.
Good. Thank you, sir. There is no other questions on the board, so I'm on, oh, wait. All of a sudden, a couple of people said, yeah.
I was going to make a motion back.
Oh, okay. Let me take number 12 first.
Mine is probably more a comment than a question, because I do think that it doesn't bother me that we're doing something preemptively, right? We are anticipating what may happen in the future and trying to protect ourselves and our students by doing this. I think that is worthy of doing. I would like to just say, though, for the record, that the idea of the United States Department of Education being eliminated, which of course has been threatened, is quite troublesome. And while we here in Georgia may be able to take care of our students, it is a national security problem and trouble if we do not have consistency across the 50 states. So I will, a motion is coming, and I have no problems at all supporting this, but I am troubled very much with the fact that we are now doing this kind of work preemptively.
And I think, thank you for your comments, and I think while we are from different political parties and have different views on the president's agenda, where I support his agenda and what he's doing, you have a different view, but I think this bill is kind of the common ground where we both agree that the state of Georgia and what happens here, we got to make sure that's addressed, regardless of whether you think it's a good idea or a bad idea. I think it's a good idea. I appreciate your comments and appreciate working with you.
Thank you, Senator. You know, so many things since I've been up here, looks like we are more reactive than we are proactive. And I think this is a very proactive bill, and I thank you for bringing it. And Senator Steele, we're all tired. Senator Sean Steele, if you would, please, you got the mic.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senator, thank you. Senator Halpern, great point, and I think that being proactive on this is probably the prudent thing to do, given your concerns. Make a motion to pass LC 492225.
Second.
And we have a second by Senator Payne. Okay, we're going all in favor of the bill. Oh, we got a question. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Now, you said that you're being proactive, but it has been told that they're going to get rid of the Board of Education on the national level, which will trickle down to all the states. So what are you going to be proactive and do something to, if we have no Board of Education, rather than what you're trying to do now? You say you agree that he should do what he promised, and he promised that in his first weeks, months, he's going to get rid of the National Board of Education, correct? So what are we adding something to our board? Why are we protecting that when we're not going to even have one? Are we going to have one?
So I can't speak for the president or what's going to happen, but this bill, what it does is it just proactively, if the U.S. Department of Education is disbanded, puts in code that some of the regulations dealing with licenses, curriculum, training, professional licenses that reference agencies recognized by the U.S. Department of Education, we put the U.S. Department of Education, comma, or its successor. And so that way, licenses in the state of Georgia can continue, and professionals will continue to be recognized moving forward.
Wouldn't that go under the Secretary of State rather than the Board of Education?
So this actually doesn't have anything to do with the State Board of Education. This is just in our state code, when it references the U.S. Department of Education, it'll be or its successor, whatever the president decides to at that point. or we as legislators decide to do.
So we have a first and a second, so I would say, we need to vote. All in favor, raise your right hand. You counting? Okay. Keep your hands, okay. All opposed? 1, 2. Motion passes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for hanging around.
Absolutely. Appreciate
Yeah.
the opportunity.
Almost like judiciary,
Yes.
isn't it? Almost.
Me too.
Thank you, committee. Y'all are great. We appreciate your patience. We've got 2 great bills passed today. Thank you. Appreciate it. Oh, meeting, excuse me, meeting adjourned.